There will come a moment, perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow, when someone will test you. Their words may be sharp. Their tone may burn. Their intention may be to provoke, to dominate, to disturb your peace. In that moment, understand this: the confrontation before you is not the true battle. The true battle is within your own chest. For what is anger, if not a fire that first consumes the vessel that carries it? What is insult, if not mere sound, until your judgment gives it weight? The world does not disturb you. People do not control you. Events do not overpower you. It is your interpretation, swift, unguarded, undisciplined, that turns a simple exchange into a war. If you would win every confrontation, begin by mastering the empire within. Govern your thoughts as a wise ruler governs a restless city. Do not allow every impulse to riot through your mind. Do not grant every emotion authority over your tongue. The one who controls his reaction controls the direction of the encounter. Consider this: when others lose their temper, they surrender their advantage. When others shout, they reveal their instability. When others attempt to provoke, they confess their dependence on your reaction. But the one who remains steady, who listens without trembling, who speaks without haste, who decides without fury, becomes immovable. And what cannot be moved cannot be defeated. You are not here to silence every critic, nor to overpower every opponent. You are here to remain sovereign over yourself. Let others be ruled by impulse. You will be ruled by reason. Let others chase victory through noise. You will claim victory through composure. For in every confrontation, the calm mind sees clearly, chooses wisely, and acts deliberately. And the one who masters his emotions does not merely survive the clash. He stands above it. Emotions are faithful servants, but they are disastrous masters. They were given to you for guidance, not for governance. Anger can alert you to injustice. Fear can warn you of danger. Desire can move you toward achievement. Yet the moment you kneel before them, the moment you allow them to dictate your words and command your actions, they cease to serve and begin to rule. Consider how swiftly an emotion rises. A single sentence from another person, a look, a gesture, and suddenly your pulse changes. Your chest tightens. Your thoughts begin racing toward defense or attack. In that instant, you stand at a crossroads unseen by others. You may either observe the emotion as it enters, acknowledge it, measure it, question it, or you may surrender to it without inspection. Most choose surrender. It is easier to react than to reflect. But what is reaction? It is obedience without thought. It is allowing a temporary surge within you to shape consequences that may endure for years. Words spoken in anger do not vanish when the anger fades. Decisions made in fear do not dissolve when courage returns. To be mastered by emotion is to place your future in the hands of a passing storm. You were not given reason to be a spectator. You were given reason to be a ruler. When anger approaches, greet it as you would a messenger. Listen, but do not hand it the throne. Ask it what it wants. Ask whether the offense is real or imagined. Ask whether responding now will strengthen you or diminish you. In this pause, this narrow space between feeling and action, you discover your power. It is not weakness to feel deeply. It is weakness to be directed blindly. The disciplined person does not suppress emotion. He refines it. He transforms anger into clarity, fear into preparation, frustration into resolve. He chooses when to speak and when to remain silent. He chooses his tone. He chooses his posture. He chooses his response. When emotions serve you, they add force to your character. When they rule you, they fracture it. The difference lies not in what you feel, but in whether you command what you feel. And in every confrontation, every disagreement, every moment of tension, this quiet authority within determines whether you stand as a steady presence or become another casualty of your own ungoverned heart. The true battlefield is not the room you stand in, nor the person who stands before you. It is the narrow, unseen space within your own mind where thoughts gather, judgments form, and impulses demand action. Long before a word escapes your mouth, the conflict has already begun inside you. And long after the voices around you fall silent, the consequences of that inner struggle remain. When someone challenges you, contradicts you, or disrespects you, It feels as though the clash exists between two bodies, two opinions, two wills. Yet look more closely. Their words enter your ears, but it is your interpretation that gives them force. One person hears criticism and finds instruction. Another hears the same words and feels humiliation. The difference is not in the sound, it is in the judgment. In every confrontation, you are tempted to focus outward. You study their tone, their posture, their expression. You measure their power, their status, their aggression. But rarely do you turn inward to examine your own rising thoughts. You seldom ask, why does this disturb me? What belief within me is being threatened? What expectation have I attached to this moment? The untrained mind seeks victory over others. The disciplined mind seeks mastery over itself. For what is the use of silencing another person if your own thoughts remain chaotic? What is the value of winning an argument if you lose control of your composure? Many leave confrontations believing they have triumphed, yet their hearts remain unsettled, their sleep disturbed, replaying the exchange again and again. This is not victory. This is inner defeat. The true battlefield demands vigilance. It requires that you stand guard over your perceptions. When anger rises, observe it without becoming it. When pride is wounded, question whether it deserved protection in the first place. When fear whispers of embarrassment or loss, examine whether these fears are rooted in reality or in ego. You cannot command the thoughts of another person. You cannot dictate their behavior, but you possess authority over the judgments you attach to their actions. Within that authority lies your strength. Every confrontation becomes an opportunity not to overpower, but to understand. Not to dominate, but to discipline. And so when the next challenge arises, do not look first to the face before you. Look to the movement within your own mind. There, in silence, the real struggle unfolds, shaping whether you stand firm or fall, to impulses that were never meant to command you. Calmness is not the absence of movement, nor is it the silence of weakness. It is power restrained, strength under deliberate control. It is the steady hand in the midst of chaos, the measured breath when others gasp for composure. Many mistake calmness for passivity, believing that to remain still is to surrender. But the truth is far different. The calm individual is not inactive. He is precise. When a confrontation arises, emotions surge like a sudden storm. Voices grow louder, gestures sharper, and the air seems charged with urgency. In such moments, people feel compelled to act quickly, to speak immediately, to defend themselves without pause. Yet haste often conceals insecurity. It is the restless mind that believes speed equals strength. Calmness, by contrast, carries a quiet authority. It does not rush to prove itself. It listens fully before responding. It weighs each word before releasing it. When you remain composed while others grow agitated, you shift the balance of the encounter. Their intensity begins to reveal its instability, while your steadiness becomes a point of gravity in the exchange. This is not achieved by accident. Calmness requires discipline. It demands that you slow your breathing when your pulse quickens. It asks that you observe your rising thoughts without immediately believing them. It challenges you to recognize that urgency is often an illusion created by wounded pride or fear of losing control. There is a certain strength in knowing that you do not need to match another's aggression. If they raise their voice, you need not raise yours. If they attempt to provoke, you need not accept the invitation. By refusing to mirror their chaos, you preserve your clarity, and clarity is the foundation of effective action. Calmness also sharpens perception. When you are not consumed by anger or anxiety, you see the situation as it truly is. You notice the subtleties in tone, the inconsistencies in argument, the emotions driving the other person's behavior. While they are blinded by intensity, you remain observant and deliberate. It is easy to shout. It is easy to react. It is easy to let emotion dictate posture and speech. What is difficult and therefore powerful is to remain grounded when pressure mounts. In that grounded state, your words carry weight because they are not scattered by impulse. Your presence commands respect because it is not shaken by turbulence. Calmness is not the retreat from confrontation. It is the controlled force that guides it with steady hands and an untroubled mind. Reaction is immediate. It is sharp, impulsive, and often unexamined. It springs from wounded pride, sudden anger, or the instinct to defend oneself at any cost. When someone speaks in a way that challenges you, the first urge is to strike back with equal force. When you feel misunderstood, you rush to correct. When you feel disrespected, you rush to retaliate. This is reaction, fast, emotional, and uncontrolled. Response, however, is different. It requires space. It demands thought. It is born not from impulse, but from intention. Between what happens to you and what you choose to do about it, there exists a brief moment, so small that most people overlook it. In that moment lies your freedom. Reaction ignores this space. Response lives within it. To react is to be pulled by external forces. Your mood becomes dependent on someone else's tone. Your behavior becomes shaped by someone else's attitude. You are no longer acting from your principles. You are merely echoing the energy placed before you. If they are angry, you become angry. If they are disrespectful, you become defensive. In reacting, you surrender control. But to respond is to reclaim authority. It is to say silently within yourself, I will choose my conduct. It is to pause when your heart races. It is to breathe before you speak. It is to examine whether the words you are about to release will serve your character or betray it. A response is deliberate. It reflects who you are, not merely how you feel in that fleeting second. There is strength in restraint. Not the restraint of suppression, but the restraint of discipline. When you resist the urge to fire back instantly, you allow reason to catch up with emotion. And reason, when given the chance, often reveals that the situation is less threatening than it first appeared. It reveals that not every remark deserves a defense. Not every criticism demands a counterattack. The one who reacts may feel powerful in the moment, but often regrets it in reflection. The one who responds may appear slower, but stands firmer in the aftermath. Reaction is noise. Response is direction. Reaction seeks to win the moment. Response seeks to preserve dignity. In every confrontation, you are presented with this choice. The world may provoke, challenge, and test you, but whether you react or respond determines whether you are ruled by circumstance or guided by intention. Every confrontation is decided long before the first word is spoken. It is decided in the privacy of your own thinking, in the silent habits you have formed, in the discipline or lack of it that governs your inner dialogue. The mind that is trained to think clearly under pressure will not crumble when challenged. The mind that is careless in thought will falter even in minor disputes. Your thoughts are not harmless. They shape your posture, your tone, your timing. If you tell yourself you are under attack, your body prepares for war. If you assume disrespect, your voice hardens. If you believe you must win at all costs, you abandon fairness and patience. Yet if you remind yourself that disagreement is not danger, that criticism is not destruction, your entire presence changes. The outer exchange reflects the inner narrative. Discipline of thought begins with awareness. You must learn to hear the sentences forming quietly in your own mind. Notice how quickly you label another person as foolish, arrogant, or hostile. Notice how swiftly you assume their intention is to undermine you. These assumptions ignite emotion before evidence is examined. A disciplined mind questions these first impressions. It asks, is this true? Is this necessary? Is this helpful? In confrontation, clarity is a weapon far more powerful than volume. When your thoughts are ordered, your words become precise. You do not wander into exaggeration. You do not rely on personal attacks. You address the issue rather than the individual. This composure unsettles those who expect chaos. It denies them the satisfaction of seeing you lose balance. Without discipline, the mind becomes a battlefield of contradictions. Pride demands dominance. Fear demands retreat. Anger demands retaliation. Each thought competes for control, and the result is confusion. But when you have trained yourself to return to reason, to measure before judging, to seek understanding before reaction, the noise quiets. One steady principle guides you: act in accordance with character, not impulse. You cannot prevent others from thinking recklessly. You cannot prevent them from speaking carelessly. But you can prevent their disorder from infecting your own mind. The more consistent your internal discipline, the less vulnerable you become to provocation. In that steadiness, you do not merely participate in confrontation, you shape its outcome. Your clarity influences the tone. Your restraint influences the pace. Your reason influences the direction. And what begins as a clash of emotion becomes, under your guidance, an exchange governed by intention and control.